I hope that you are doing very, very, very well. It's been a while since I've done a peruse of Faerie magazine. They've actually rebranded and are now going by Enchanted Living. I had forgotten to renew my subscription, so I think I missed a season. But this is the springtime issue. It is forest themed, very promising stuff into the forest issue. And I'm extremely excited to see that on the back they've revealed the theme for the summer 2019 issue. Art Nouveau. Doesn't this image look gorgeous? This golden filigree crown draped in chains by Ivy Design. Beautiful, elegant positioning of the hands. I've always been jealous of people who can do hand modeling. I feel like I've got sort of stubby, gnomey hands, and so it doesn't look quite so glamorous when I do it. So, yeah, we're just gonna have a look in here. Before we get started, there's a few things I want to show you for both informational and auditory purposes. I'm going to tell you about my perfume that I'm wearing, the lip color I'm wearing, and the nail polish I'm wearing. Maybe you care, maybe you don't, but you're gonna find out. First is the perfume. It is by Black Phoenix Alchemy Lab, and it's called Eat Me. They had one called Eat Me, one called Drink Me, from Alice in Wonderland, of course. I got it from the Oddities Flea Market at the Globe Theater in Los Angeles this weekend. I'm so glad I got the opportunity to go. They do shows in New York, Chicago, and LA, as far as I know. And I've wanted to go for a long time. And it was everything I anticipated and more. So this, to me, smells delectable. Oh, it smells very warm and sweet. Maybe like kettle corn. So I like to dab a bit, just a bit, a little bit, little bit onto my wrist. And then I swipe, and swipe. Oh, and I feel like it's one of those perfumes that, I don't know if ages is the most appealing word, but it's the best I can come up with right now. It ages well on the skin. So when you first put it on, it's a little sharp and intense in your face. But then after it's kind of melted into the skin for a few hours, it warms and softens and becomes something more incredible than it started as. And I guess it blends with your natural scent. You always hear perfume connoisseurs talk about how every perfume smells completely different on different people, because everybody has a very unique natural scent that intermingles with the perfume scent. Next is the lip gloss, Fenty Glow Gloss Bomb by Fenty Beauty. This is my favorite lip gloss I've found. Nice and sheer and shimmery, peachy shade. And feel kind of silly doing this, but I just thought that each of these would make nice sharp tapping sounds. I love the clickety clackety taps of glass containers and plastic. It's this sort of robin's egg blue. Robin's egg blue. And it's called Time is Money, but time like the herb. How clever. It is the Sally Hansen Insta Dry. So, my acrylic nail experiment was very short-lived. I lasted maybe a week with those, and then I was just over it. I don't understand how people can live like that. Every time I needed to open up a container, it hurt so much. So, mad respect to anybody who incorporates acrylic nails as a regular part of their lifestyle, because it is just not easy. So, now that we've got all that funny business out of the way, let's get into the magazine. I'm gonna roll up my sleeves because we're gonna be really diving in there. Yeah, I'm taking this seriously. So, I'm gonna try to do some nice tracing. Starting with the cover, we've got a couple of fae people. This lady has some long, wavy, moss green hair and a brown bodice with felted mushrooms growing over it, fluffy tulle skirt, and then this antlered fellow with moss growing over him. I wonder why they chose to change their name from Faerie magazine to Enchanted Living. Ooh, gorgeous ceramic art. We are utterly smitten with this beautiful plate, cup, and spoon from Russian artist Valentina Fadeva, known as Ceramic Tales. Each piece is freeform sculpted from white clay and covered with speckled dots to resemble the Amanita muscaria mushroom of fairy tale lore, before being glazed and fired to create a unique and useful art piece. So she has an Etsy shop called Ceramic Tale. I've always been sad that forests around here don't have those magical fantasy mushrooms. The red with white speckles. They said it's called Amanita muscaria. I think they are closer to the equator. Not around here at all. I'm gonna have to check out that Etsy shop. I would love to have some pieces like that. Here's another amazing image of the model from the cover. This bodice, corset, whatever thing is amazing with all the details. The mushroom. So, the corsetaire. I didn't know that was a title for people who make corsets. Corsetaire. Rainbow curve corsetry. This corset, named Beautiful Decay, was Steinman's attempt to confront her fear of fungi through a study of the innate beauty of the shapes and colors of mushrooms. I've never heard of anybody being afraid of fungi. I guess it makes sense. Mold can kill you. The title hints at the fungi and other microorganisms break everything down as they return to the earth, she says, making this piece piece was in essence a reflection on the ephemeral nature of everything, a memento mori. The piece is hand-felted, using hand-dyed organza silk squares, glass beads, and angeline fibers to add shimmer and texture. Its creation took over 150 hours. Steinman is thrilled with the images of her corset. Jessica brought a sense of mystery and otherworldly charm. She looked pretty and formed a unity with the green surrounding her, as if she had emerged from the earth itself. It was magical to watch her and Brian pose together among the fog and foliage. So here's a better image of just the corset where you can see the amazing variety of colors and textures. I didn't notice before that the bodice gradiates from a warmer brown to a cooler, softer brown, and even into this rich purple. Ooh, fiddleheads. Fiddleheads, or the furled fawns of a young fern, might be one of the most alluring of vegetables, available only fleetingly every spring. The taste is strong and distinctive. Some say it's like a cross between asparagus and spinach, others that it's more like grass or nuts. Most say that the fiddlehead tastes like springtime. See for yourself by trying one of the following recipes or another that you come across. But for proper levels of enchantedness, be sure to clean and cook your fiddleheads. Boil them for at least 15 minutes before sauteing or otherwise preparing them. I've never seen these in my life. I wonder where you can buy them. They're these spiral swirls of green. They do look like fantasy asparagus. So it has a few different recipes you can make with them. A fiddlehead edamame salad with orange and hazelnuts. Flatbread with kale pesto and green peas. The magical miniatures of the fairy forest. I think this article is about an Etsy shop that I follow where she collects items from nature, twigs and leaves and acorns, and she crafts fairy furniture out of them, like dollhouse scale. And I am in love with everything she's ever made, but I could never justify actually purchasing it because, all of the meticulous care and time that goes into it, she has to charge quite a lot. And I just can't justify it to myself, but I love keeping tabs on her shop and seeing what she's come up with lately. Pieces of driftwood and moss. Here's a little fairy vanity with a mirror, hairbrushes. How to make a miniature fairy tea set of wood and mushrooms. That would be a fun project. I know a lot of people don't like to have clutter, but it's things like this, little bits and bobs, that I like to have around my abode because every time they catch my eye, they just make me smile. Here's a poem called Mr. Fox, and it's accompanied by some paper cutout art. It reminds me of Over the Garden Wall. Those, silhouette pieces, title cards. Of a woman with a fox mask, and then what seems to be an actual fox. So, let's see what this poem is all about, shall we? Mr. Fox by Theodora Goss, art by Kathleen Jennings. When I first fell in love with Mr. Fox, he warned me, "You can't trust me, my dear. Just when you think I'm there, I'm gone. I'm nowhere. Look, I'm wearing a mask. Who does that? Thieves. By the time the autumn leaves have fallen, you will mourn my absence." And yet, I couldn't help it. After all, he was wearing such a dashing red coat, like a soldier. He had such a twinkle in his eye. He danced so nimbly, holding my hands in paws on which he wore black kid gloves. His tail ended in a white tuft. I knew about the others, of course, or at least I'd heard rumors. I knew he was no innocent. I knew about the one who had drowned herself in a river, her muslin gown floating around her. I knew about the one who had locked herself away in a convent. How does one fall out of love with a thief who has already stolen one's heart? But I was cautious. I went to his castle in the woods. "Be bold," said the sign above the gate. "Be bold, but not too bold." I've never been good at listening to advice or taking it. I was too bold, as usual. What did I find? First, a pleasant parlor with blue silk curtains and rosewood furniture, perfectly charming. Then a library filled with books from Shakespeare to W.B. Yeats. A kitchen with no implements more dangerous than a paring knife, beside a barrel of apples waiting to be turned into cider. Bathrooms with modern plumbing, a dining room that contained a mahogany table large enough for banquets but seldom used, judging by the dust. Where was his secret chamber? There must be one. On top of a desk in his study, I'd seen a photograph of the girl who drowned, beside a vase of lilies like a memorial. And there it was, at the end of a carpeted hallway. I knew what it must lead to, that small door. It was locked, of course, but I took out my lockpick tools. If he was a thief, I was another. It opened easily. There was no blood on the floor. There were no dead, dismembered wives hanging from hooks. Instead, the walls were covered with masks. Fox, badger, mole, boar, weasel, otter, squirrel, even one that resembled a tree. All the masks he had worn, presumably. And on one wall, opposite the window, which badly needed washing, was a portrait of an ordinary man with sandy hair and tired eyes. I locked the room behind me. "At our wedding," he said, "are you sure, my dear?" with a toothy grin that seemed wicked, but was, I thought, a little anxious. "To marry the dangerous Mr. Fox?" I asked. "Who knows? You might gobble me up, but I'll take my chances." He seemed satisfied and swung me into a waltz. There's a moral to this story, ladies. Have your own set of lockpick tools. Also, be bold and wise and cunning, like a fox. That poem reminds me quite a lot of the fantastic Mr. Fox. I love that part. It goes really well with it. Oh, there's a piece about Liskin Doll. I follow her on Instagram. If you don't know her, I would definitely recommend checking out her page. She is incredible at making lots of handmade items like embroidery, dresses, cooking, and it all very much has a woodland fairy aesthetic. She's also incredible at hair. She does the most amazing braids adorned with flowers. Storybook couture. French designer Sylvie Fagon takes fairy tale couture to a new level with her intricate, otherworldly, and seemingly impossible gowns that are themselves storybooks. You might have seen her eras as she made to honor and celebrate her pretty hometown in northern France. So here's the dress. Such cool texture. It has these lovely buildings cascading down into what looks like some biblical scenes. There's an angel on the shoulders, some floral patterns. She's also the creator of this book dress that I think everybody's seen before. This is like Pinterest royalty, this image. Fairy tale eco houses in Wales. So we have a collection of hobbit houses. It'd be so cool to stay in one of those. The Lost Hobbit House in a forested valley in the Welsh countryside. I love how the roof is overgrown with all these flowers. The roof is kind of made of lots of bits of mishmashed driftwood. The owners look exactly as you might expect in drapery, flowy, flouncy gowns. Some intricate Celtic designs carved into these wooden beams. Beautiful dress. I hope my hair looks like this when I'm old. Blindingly white, wavy and long. And of course, I will also adorn it with a pink and white flower crown every day. She looks sweet. Here's a recipe for Green Man picnic pie. Reminds me of Brian and Wendy Froud. The Green Man is typically associated with the renewed cycle of growth that comes with spring. He represents growth and decay, as he can be seen as either emerging from or being reclaimed by nature. It would take a lot of time and care to craft all of these details out of dough. The eyes, the nose, mouth, all of these leafy details. It'd be fun though. I'm tempted to try. Alright, so that is it for our little peruse through the springtime issue enchanted living. I really hope you enjoyed having this little look through with me. Have a